whatever fancy shit that George Jetson's rolling around with. And then you go over to the Flintstones and, you know, they're barefoot, you know, and they're pedaling their car that's made out of rock and shit. And it's just like, why would I want that when I could have the Jetsons? Hey everyone, welcome back to the most exciting gun show on the internet. It's not, but we would like to be. So please keep watching and subscribe and, you know, do all the good stuff, like and comment and do all that fun stuff. Today we're talking about my personal Rifle Dynamics AK. This is going to be a pretty blatantly positive review. I love this gun. This might be my favorite rifle that I own. I absolutely love this gun. I got this about 2.5 years ago, actually, from a friend who was trying to sell this, and he liked an AR that I had. So I was like, hey, dude, I'll trade you straight up. I think I got the better of that deal. That's just my opinion, okay? But Rifle Dynamics, the AK market in America is very small. Okay, it's very, very small. Globally, obviously huge. In America, it's a relatively small market if you look at it compared to the AR market. And inside of the AK market, there are very few companies that I would have any interest in getting an AK from. There's Rifle Dynamics, there's Meridian Defense, there's Krebs, there's a few, you know, there's a few names that come to mind. Versus if you look at AR territory and you go, man, I mean, I can just go down the list forever of the BCMs and the Daniel Defenses and the Knights and the Triarchs and the yada, 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 right? So we get into AK world and we hit a much smaller market in a much smaller list of builders who I would say are, you know, not trustworthy, but like reputable enough and have some style that I actually appreciate. There are very modern AK builders who do all kinds of cool, fancy rail stuff and everything. And then there's some more traditional stuff. So this is a 700 production series gun. RD makes the 700 series. They make the 500 series. The 700 is in AK47 territory, which is 7.62 by 39 traditional classic AK round. I just run Wolf in my 47s. Works fine. It's cheap. Certainly not fancy. This is definitely not high in ammo, but it works great. The 500 production series is AK-74, created in 1974 versus 1947, and that is run in 5.45. 5.45 is going to be a lot closer to a 2.23. It's going to be a smaller round. It's going to be traveling faster, softer recoil, a little bit more distance, all of that. I personally am a 47 guy. I like the traditionalness of it. I also like it from the ability of, hey, look, if I already shoot 2.23 on AR, 5.45 is a little bit of a duplicate round for me. You know, it's like, look, I've got ARs to do 2.23 things. I like AKs to do AK things. AKA, you guys see what I did there. AKA, if you really needed to like punch through some stuff that ARs aren't going to get through, and I say that like I'm operating, like I'm like kicking down doors at night and, you know, I'm operating in Kabul right now. I'm not doing any of that. So I don't know what the hell it is that I'm shooting through. I mean, shit, I sell houses. What am I doing? What do I need 7.62 for? Absolutely nothing. But I do like the theoretical argument of, hey, look, this is going to go through a lot more stuff and do quite a bit more damage than 2.23. That's part of the reason I like it. And I'm just a traditional guy. I like the traditional AK round. So people, look, I get it. Okay, for the AR crowd, ARs are simple to reload. You take it's a natural thing for a dude, right? You take an object, you grab it, and you shove it up a hole. And it's very, very natural, right? AKs, not so much. They require a little bit of finesse, right? Because you gotta find that lip right there. It's not hard. AKs are not hard to reload. It's just finding that lip. What's so hard about that? Okay. This is basic. This is basic stuff. AK is one of the maybe the best thing about them, and I don't have an answer for this, maybe someone does. It's a gun that, as a lefty, which I am, it's a gun that's finally appropriate for me. Because every other gun is basically just, hey, lefties, that's what they give you, right? AKs, I don't fully get it. I know there's a reason behind it, but I don't get why all of this, which is everything that I need, safety, charging handle, I don't get why it would be on the right side of the gun, because it's way more lefty appropriate. Selfishly, I love it. Now, if you want to go cool guy way, if you want to go cool guy AK reload, you do it with the mag, right? Click, mag comes out, kick the old mag out, mag goes in, charge, boom. That's the cool guy way. I'm not cool enough to actually be able to successfully do it consistently. That, if I'm being perfectly honest, was luck. One thing that it will do though is it will save some of your thumb from constantly, thumb being the thing that's pushing that paddle, right? That over the course of 1,000 rounds, your thumb's probably gonna be feeling the heat a little bit, in which case a mag might make more sense. So in the production series guns, the biggest place where you've got some options is on what kind of stock you want. So on this, and this is really, I look at it like, hey, look, this is my standard length so I can travel with it, like modern service rifle AK. I like having a collapsible stock on it. It's gonna be a bit more comfortable. So you can get this both on the 545 and the 762 guns. They've also got just a fixed polymer stock, and they've also got the real winner, if we start talking about cool points, triangle side folders. Not going to be as comfortable, but the really cool thing about a triangle side folder is you can condense that gun to being that length. That's the length of the gun versus mandatory. That's as short as I can get this gun right now. So you've got options on that. RD will also give you some options. They'll upgrade triggers. So standard, they're going to use a tuned G2 trigger, which is going to be as long as they're tuned properly, they're fine. Is it a Geisley, you know, fancy cool guy AR trigger? No, it's not going to be like that. But what you can do is you can do an upgrade to an ALG trigger. And the cool thing about these ALG triggers for AKs is, seriously, these things feel like, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that ALG is some sort of a sister company or some division of Geisley. So really, you're going to get a Geisley quality trigger for way less money. So, I mean, for those of you who shoot Geisleys on your ARs, you're gonna know, hey, look, that trigger is gonna be, you know, north of 200 bucks. These are something like 60. I mean, they're like drop-in really awesome triggers. So very, very, very worth the upgrade. You can do other little stuff, like you could probably specify, well, it'd be an add-on, but you can specify, hey, look, I don't want this sort of hand guard, I want, you know, rails, whatever, you know, Krebs, whatever rail system you want on your gun. You can specify what kind of brake you have on there. So this is a AAC. You can do a lot of different stuff, right? If you're running dead air cans, whatever, you can do all that. Rifle Dynamics will tune the gun if you're going to run it suppressed. So there's lots of different stuff that you can do. They're going to have some traditional models that don't come with a rail. This being production series, all of those are going to come with an Ultimac rail, so you can mount optics, lights, which is really all I run on my guns. And you know, it's relatively straightforward. One other quick little upgrade that you can do is on the safety. That's Krebs safety. The nice thing that it does, most of you are righties, is it's going to give you that extra ledge there to be able to disengage your safety. Without that, you're just left using these little rails here versus having a nice little place for your finger to go right there. So I will concede one thing on AKs. They get hot. Not so much all fine. It's cool, it's no problem. These Ultimac rails, so pretty much the standard that everyone uses is Ultimac rails. And they're really good, right? It's a way to mount optic. You know, I usually keep my stuff pretty simple. Optic, light, it's all I need. I'm not running nods, everyone, okay? I'm not kicking in doors in Kabul, okay? But these Ultimacs, they get toasty, and they get toasty fast. If you dump a mag through one of these, you're gonna feel it. You're definitely gonna feel it. So just know, if AR guys ever see AKs and they're like, why don't they you know, wrap around, you know, why don't they C-clamp the upper of their gun? It's because it's gonna burn the fuck out of you, okay? And you'll see a lot of AK guys, especially if they're running a lot of rounds through their gun, that they'll wear a glove on their support hand, which I do as well, okay? You're just trying to minimize some of that, not looking to melt skin off my thumb. You know what I'm saying? What do I want to tell? I'll tell you a fun rifle dynamic story. So anyone who knows me knows I am equal part about the product, and you deliver a good product, and consumer experience. Because I think everyone is disillusioned into thinking they're actually in the gun business or they're in the client business. So Rifle Dynamics does a good job of this. A buddy of mine, who I actually bought this rifle from, I did not buy that gun from RD. I actually bought it from a friend who wanted to trade for something I had. So my buddy calls up there recently, and Casey, who, if you know Rifle Dynamics, you'll know Casey. She answers the phone and she's like, oh, hey, she's like, hey, are you and Jake and this other guy, are you guys all still friends? I was like, man, that was like 2 years ago that you would have known that I got this gun from this guy and that I was friends with this other guy. And I was like, man, nice touch. Nice touch. What company do they answer the phone? And they're like, hey, are you guys all still buddy? And she knew us all by name. I was like, not bad, not bad. These little things that I don't know, that side of me enjoys. I enjoy when a company actually remembers their customer. Here's how I look at AKs. AKs to me, and this is how I've always put it to people when they're like, you know, what's the appeal of AKs? Here's how I look at it. It's Fred Flintstone versus George Jetson, okay? The Jetsons had all the fancy cool guy stuff with their fancy space cars. I don't know if they were in space, wherever the fuck where did the Jetsons, I don't know where the Jetsons lived. Whatever fancy shit that George Jetson's rolling around with. And then you go over to the Flintstones and, you know, they're barefoot, you know, and they're pedaling their car that's made out of rock and shit. And it's just like, why would I want that when I could have the Jetsons? AR, Jetsons, AK, Flintstones. Well, here's what you miss about Fred Flintstone. He's got character, and he's got heart, and he's got personality. George Jetson, no one liked George Jetson. No one fucking likes George Jetson or any of the Jetson family. No one likes the Jetsons family. You go over to Fred Flintstone's house and you're like, hey, we're gonna go over to Fred's house tonight. And Barney's next door, and you can hang out with them, and they're a little crude. They're a little crude, but you know what? They work, they've got work ethic. You know what? Do they need to be showered every day in order to perform? No, they don't. They'll just keep working, even when they're dirty, right? The Flintstones have a personality. And I'll be the first to tell you, I've never cleaned this gun. I've never taken the top cover off, if you want to know the honest truth. I have no idea how dirty this gun is. I've had it for 2.5 years. I've never oiled it. I've never cleaned it. I've done nothing to maintain it. And it is just now, after 2.5 years, beginning to say, Jake, I think I need a little TLC. I think I need a little, you know, little cleaning, little tune up. It's not that it doesn't run. It'll run all day. Parts might start falling off because its owner hasn't done its job. The gun will continue to work. I guarantee you that. And that's part of why people love AKs. Like ARs, they're cool. Like I get it. I'm not a hater. I still love my ARs. But these just work. I mean, you see all the videos of dirty AKs and they're muddy up and they throw them in a lake and drag them around and then throw it off a bridge and then they still work. That's what these do. That's what these do, okay? They've got heart. Fred Flintstone he just works. So, should you get 7.62 or should you get 5.45? I don't know, but what I would tell you is this: 5.45 is going to be a little bit of a duplicate round if you're already shooting 2.23. And in my opinion, I think the more likely round over the course of time, or the round that would be harder to find if we just play out over the course of years, would probably be 5.45. 7.62, it is hard to imagine just because of the pure number of these that exist. I think you're always going to be able to get 7.62 ammo, and it's cheap. So it's cheap, it works, availability's there. And if you're a first-time AK guy, I really think you owe it to yourself. Get the original. This is the OG. It's very apparent. Look, I love this gun, okay? Like, there's no getting around it. This is one of my favorite rifles. Might be my favorite rifle if I had to pick one gun. So what would be the criticisms of Rifle Dynamics? I'm trying to give you a fair and unbiased thing here. About the only thing I could really give you is back in the day when they really started blowing up, they had some really horrific lead times. Like, they definitely had some real shit lead times back in the day where it was, you know, a year to get your AK. And that's a long lead time, you know, and I think that people definitely got a little bit restless and there was some, you know, these guys are taking forever. And look, unfortunately, that is largely how the gun industry operates. Like, lead times are very seldom what you are told they will be. Now, that said, fast forward a few years later, and I don't know if this is good or bad. I'm just giving you the facts. This is not secret inside information I have. This is public knowledge. Well, Rifle Dynamics was sold. Jim sold Rifle Dynamics, and I don't know who owns it now. I don't know if it's some, you know, investment project for some shooters. I couldn't tell you the answer to that. But Jim sold it. I know he's still involved there. I think probably still builds some guns. He just doesn't own it. And the pro of that is I do believe the lead times have gotten significantly better. That's my understanding, that sometimes they even have guns in stock. You can even, you know, go on their website or something and say, hey, look, we've got this gun right now, right here in stock. It can ship tomorrow. And that definitely never happened back in the old days. So lead times, much better. The only thing that I'm just throwing this out there, I don't know the answer to it, but when the creative that made a company what it was loses that ownership of the company or sells it, right? Does the quality of the product get better, get worse, stay the same? I don't know. I don't know. My only concern would be, and this is from in Jim Fuller's, you know, heyday when they were making like the AK company. There's a few competitors now. Is I don't have an answer to it. I'm just saying, hey, look, I don't know what happens when the mastermind isn't the one behind the guns and owning the company anymore. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, okay? But I would tell you this. When it comes down to, hey, I'm thinking about getting into the AK market, what should I get? Well, I can't answer that because mostly that depends on budget. I could tell you if you're saying, hey, look, I'm used to dropping a couple $1,000s on an AR and yada, yada, yada. Well, I would definitely be taking a look at this at that point. There's only, you know, 2, 3, 4 names that I'd be looking at that point. Rifle Dynamics definitely has to be in the conversation there. One thing I will tell you is I genuinely believe, and this is very important to me, that you will be taken care of there. I do believe that they take care of their customers and they have good customer service now. And when you call, someone answers the phone and they'll take care of you. I know as a customer that when I've called in from time to time with either a question or whatever the case may have been, I've always been warmly greeted, right? And that is important to me because guess what? These ain't cheap. These ain't $600 AKs. They're like $2,500 AKs before you throw on lights and optics and whatever kind of stuff you want there. So if I'm dropping 2,500 bucks on an AK, I gotta feel like I'm a part of the Rifle Dynamics family. And I can honestly tell you, they've done a really good job of that. So I don't know what AK you should get, but price dependent, you definitely gotta take a look at that. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to our channel while you're here. Maybe like, leave us a comment. If you leave us a nasty comment or you leave us a thumbs down, that might be the lowest form of human interaction these days. Who leaves a thumbs down on a YouTube video? But subscribe. You can find us on YouTube, Outspoke, Full30.com, 1911 Syndicate. It's very simple. If you're a podcaster, you just like listening to audio in your car, you can search the Syndicate Minutes on Apple, Google, Spotify, and you can always find us on Instagram, Facebook, all those good things. Just search 1911 Syndicate, and we'll hang out. Come on, we'll hang out with each other online. Let's become friends. Come on, just do it. Go, do it now.